Why did you start in engineer, and what motivates you to keep going every day?
So how would I call you, address you?
I'm Lydia.
Lydia.
You can call me Lydia.
Okay. Okay, let's start. Yeah.
I'm also a professor here, but just call me Lydia.
Okay. So, hi Lydia. Thank you for really having this conversation with me, because the topics you are raising is clearly how someone with your background as a professor, this is one of the oldest university in Iasi. Also, you've been thinking deeply, and that's why you asked me. It feels simple, but actually a very deep question. So now back to your question about why did I choose engineering? Because anywhere I looked around, some form of engineering solution that is somehow helping people to survive, protect themselves, feel secure, and go about their life. So that the more and more I travel around the world, everywhere I see that. For example, we are standing in this beautiful library, and you see this one, it's beautiful. It's made of metal, the lighting, the ceiling, the building structure, even the wood, the coatings, everything has an element of engineering knowledge, skills.
Yeah.
At the same time, it is also an amalgamation of other human knowledge. It's about aesthetics, it's about presentable, it's about culture, it's about everything else human beings actually pursue in their daily life. So in a way, engineering closely interfacing with all these other human knowledge is basically what made this beautiful library possible and standing.
Brought everything together.
Brought everything together. And we are able to have this nice conversation in a beautiful setting. So to me, it's engineering and plus. Engineering and plus. So I felt that I want to be part of the solution in a small way, to whichever community, large or small, I'm associated. I want to ideate, see how that can be created, tested, scaled up. So that has been the motivation. And of course, engineering over the last 400 years, it's really progressed. I again would like to share some information. I established a Global Engineering Deans Council in 2008. At that time, we were looking at how engineering evolved over the time. So it's clear, if you take the modern engineering, it has strong roots in Europe. And then it spread, and the number of disciplines of engineering expanded, more and more coming. So we said we need to help thousands of engineering institutions around the world so that they have a most cutting edge knowledge, best way of organizing themselves and educating students as well as generating future engineers. So then we said, where do we start this? So we actually started that in Europe, and then we spread it to the whole world. So now it's a global institution where leaders of engineering colleges are involved, as an example.
But how do you see, because it's related to your answer, how do you see engineering evolving in this technological era?
That's
with
right.
The AI development?
You are spot on. And the speed at which now the digital technologies, like the one you mentioned, artificial intelligence, big data, machine learning, and many others. So what's happening now is even quantum computing, these things now would impact the way engineering is going to evolve. For example, these technologies would enable us to prepare engineering solutions in a very faster way, also disseminate these engineering solutions much far and wide, worldwide. So about 10 plus years ago, I wrote a book on the changing face of innovation, where I was basically saying when engineering gets constantly updated, the more and more people will have an opportunity to get involved. And when they get involved, they would develop their own confidence and they will contribute to their own society or family. And in general, I think it's more progressive than any other way humans go about their contribution.
That would be my question. For the people who think that AI is going to replace us all, will AI replace engineering? Sorry.
So the question is, would it really replace engineering? Or the relationship between humans and engineering? My take is, it will never be able to replace the higher abilities of human beings. A lot of routine, regular tasks, repetitive, and some things require efficiency, speed, effectiveness. Such processes can be either augmented, replaced with AI. But human beings, if you look around the world, in every community, there is a distribution of abilities. There are people who think far ahead, do things which is never even imagined. That's what the human mind is capable. And the human mind has, in this head, we have close to 100 billion neurons and more than 1 trillion junctions. And these neurons and junctions are actually making you and me talk to each other and understand each other. Also, you are able to ask me a question you never even imagined. You could just come up with something new, right? So that means it is not based on your experience from the day you were born to now. You have a lot of memory. But when you are asking a question, you could actually think beyond all those memory and experiences and knowledge. You could actually ask a question completely different direction, never even imagined, and you could even hypothesize it in such a way, allow us to think about it. To me, actually, the human beings, if you look at historically, if they are there for 10,000 years, what they say, most of the time they hypothesized. And then they proved, whether they are religious scholars, intellectuals, or they're scientists, all of them are doing exactly the same. They may call it differently, the process is same. They can imagine, hypothesize, and then say, okay, how do we make sense of it? And even for us to make sense of the universe, which is immense, humans are able to do that because they can imagine. And I think that's where human mind or human abilities distinguish from the AI. While AI is making us to run faster, AI is making us to run for the money. That's and then for many people, it's a sleepless night. Would it replace my job? Would it affect my future? Yeah, those are realistic. But the question you're asking as a professor and someone who also thinks other than the regular work you need to do, so your question is twofold. One is generally, how would it impact engineering? The other one is, would it really impact engineering and humanity? So when you say, would it really, this is where I think I'm highly optimistic, and I place confidence on the human abilities.
I do too. I think it's an instrument, and it can be a wonderful, like any instrument, it makes a difference through the fact that you use it.
Correct.
So you can use it both ways to develop.
Other day, for example, to pick on what you're saying, other day, I was talking to some of the eminent physicists and cosmologists and many others. I asked them a question. We, as living beings, are human beings, in a way shaped by what is there in the nature. For example, the gravitational forces on Earth, the vegetation, the food, energy, whatever is there, that's what made the way we are, right? My question is, the universe is immense. What is the role of the whatever is there in the universe on the living beings, which involves human beings? And they said, you may not realize it because I'm an engineer, and they said, someone said, the radiation or cosmic energy, even though it is small, that is reaching the Earth from the immense universe, they said, it's behind biological changes that are happening. You want to call them mutations? Well, so what they're saying is such, even though minute levels, but it is another variable which is constantly changing our biology. So when our biology changes, that means I'm not the same like yesterday. You are not the same yesterday. So no one is. That means we are evolving. So with this advanced knowledge and this biological evolution, when we put them together, I think future engineers can be even better.
And if we're talking about future engineers, what advice would you have for young people who are interested in pursuing a career in engineering?
Absolutely. Now, hindsight, I can say it, because I was young once, so now I can say it. So, from the neuroscience, what they say is, those in the university time, that means they're age between 20 to 30, that's the time they have the peak cognitive performance. And you need a peak cognitive ability to understand complex subjects. And once you understand and pick up the complexity, which is through the engineering subjects, you are actually well prepared for the future. And then you could do whatever you like to do. For example, in Singapore, when I was the Dean of Engineering, that was 20 years ago, we were thinking, what should be the planning parameter? We felt, we look in the market, 1 in 2 engineers actually do not practice engineering after they graduate. Then we were asking around, is it a good thing or not? Well, one way to say is, well, there's a lot of resources put in training an engineer, but the other way to look at it is, because of that engineering training, they are now able to deal with systems, complex systems. So whatever organization they're working, are leading, or their own personal life, they could, think differently in a more holistic, systematic way. I think that's the benefit of being, learning engineering.
So I will have just one more question. How can the sustainability approach, because this is a subject that's very close to your heart, be included in our behavior and be integrated in the higher education curricula overall, long term? Sure.
Lydia, just to resonate with you, I was the director of NUS Enterprise, which is promoting entrepreneurship about 20 years ago. And we realized, first of all, entrepreneurial mind is very, very important, clear.
Okay.
And now, when someone is entrepreneurial, it's not only about the money. They also want to feel they are meaningful to the society, meaningful to themselves, that they have some purpose, they're doing something beautiful. So, with an enterprising mind or entrepreneurial mind, in the domain of, for example, sustainability, what should higher education institutions do? First thing, sustainability, the way we understand now, is relatively new compared to general sustainability understanding that is there in the last 30, 40 years. In the last 20 years or 10 years, there's a lot more knowledge, a lot more, for example, life cycle assessment or end-to-end full cycle thinking. All these concepts came. I also helped ISO, International Standards Organization, coming up with a new standard on circularity assessment. It's just been released now for the world. So that is about sustainability. So there's a lot of new understanding, new knowledge, and still evolving. So that means all the leaders or the teachers in the university, they have their education some time ago. So they need to first have a little bit of retraining, exposure to the new knowledge, because it's a new thing. It's like AI. It was not there before, so we need to get used to it. So the teachers, leaders in the university also need to update themselves. That's first. Second is our curriculum. It doesn't mean every subject has a lot of change that is needed, but some subjects they need a fine-tuning so that they actually have an elements of sustainability. And there could be new courses related to sustainability. So these are things to be introduced into the university curriculum. Then the next generations will come. So ultimately, university is in a society. And society means human beings, the people. And society responds to how people live, choose to make decisions. This is where if people are much more discerning in terms of their choices, and they take things, or they buy, procure, or use things they really need. It's not some marketing push to them, these are nice things to have. So if we can get that fine-tuning in thought process of the people, I think that'll be fundamental change in the society. Then when it comes to teaching, the universities, what aspects of sustainability I can now integrate the way I teach. So the intensity may be different depending on the subject. So I think that's fundamentally, we transition to a newer way of educating people.